Hey guys, welcome back with another video with Linksi. I hope you're all having a lovely day. Today we're going to be discussing the rage that there is for those that corner camp. The rage and illogical anger. I cannot put words into it. The ridiculous notion that when you're faced with incredibly difficult odds, you take in every possible advantage you have in front of you and win. Why are corner camps hated? And why are they so fucking good? It's simple why they're hated. They're hated because when used in multiplayer, they're absolutely ridiculous. In multiplayer, you're in a very balanced, very controlled scenario where you are spending money pretty much 1:1, and you have something of an economy that balances the battle. However, in campaign, this is very difficult to do so, especially when you're playing against legendary AI. And this is why those who corner camp, those who exploit the fact that you have two invisible walls that confuffle the AI, should not be shamed. It would be the same as taking over the high hill, which in this case happened to be both the corner and the hill at the same time. It should be the same for those who take advantage of choke points, of those who take advantage of environmental terrain. In this battle, I overpower my enemy significantly. However, I am going to use this as an example of why corner camping is not a bad thing. We're going to go through the pros and cons of such a thing, and we're also going to discuss a number of things. For those who have no idea what corner camping is, well, simply put, it's having an army like this and stuffing it into the corner, making sure you don't have any way that you can be flanked. In this case, my army will be flanked either whatever I do, just simply of the nature of the army, which relies heavily on plague claw catapults and rattling guns. This can be done in multiple armies, and I will show you later on an army that generally is more suited to corner camping, which is a archer or missile only army, not in siege equipment, or in the case of Skaven, heavy based machinery such as rattling guns. Why is this great? Well, this kind of army is fantastic for multiple reasons. My favorite one to point out is the fact that you are in a situation where your back is against the wall and you don't need to micro so much. You don't need to be always on the lookout to see if the AI is going around you or sending an incredible amount of forces. Oftentimes when you're playing legendary AI, you're going to be facing insane odds, non-stop armies, one sent after the other, and when you defeat an army, even if you defeat it quite mostly on your side, if you take one loss, the next fight you're going to be fighting with one less troop, whereas the AI is going to send you thousands more to fight against you. And this is why you need to fight with minimal losses. The only thing you shall lose in a fight is ammunition. Ammunition is going to be the currency that you will expend if you are to face success. Now you're going to tell me, but I prefer to play in such a way that I like to see melee lines clash, and that is up to you, my dude. That is up to you, and no one's judging you either. There is no judgment. There's an optimal way of playing the game. There is a less optimal way of playing the game. Doesn't mean there is a way that is more fun to everyone. You could liken playing the game with, I don't know, Grail Relics. If that is the case, I take my cap off for you. But that said, why does this affect the AI so badly that it gives you the edge even when it's 95% against you with regards to the auto resolve? As everyone knows, the auto resolve is indeed drunk, and hence it's very difficult to actually base what will happen in the auto resolve. The human AI will do much better than the auto resolve conditions, and we tend to provide ourselves a much better odds at winning the battle in general. However, having the AI, understanding how the AI works, understanding how the AI works is really important as well. The AI likes to send you a long thin line and surrounds you from each side and does a pincer movement. So it's really good that you try to get your back protected. If you do not do this, you're going to need to invest some troops in protecting your flanks and your sides, some troops such as missile units, some troops such as heroes, lords, cavalry, or super highly mobile troops. Uh, if you do not have the ability to afford such troops, if you need as much firepower as possible, maximize the destruction that you deal to an enemy so they do not reach your front line, you need to use terrain at your advantage. Now, sadly, oftentimes you are fighting in terrain such as this, very open maps, slow, small rolling hills, unless, of course, you're fighting in specific scenarios where there are cliffs, there are sides, and there are gorges of rock which protect you. In this case, that is not the case, and hence we are in a situation where we need to use the corner walls. This is the limitation set on by the developer of the game, which limits the size of the map and limits the maneuverability of the battlefield. Is it intended to be used in this way? No, not at all. This is a oversight perhaps, or simply a game mechanic that people are given an arena and they have to fight in it. And this part of the arena is just as important as any part in there, and hence why I do highly recommend, if you are struggling against enemies, if you don't want to lose any troops or units, this is what I would suggest for you. If you are losing army after army and you have a so-called disaster campaign, oftentimes this is one of the first things you need to do. Unit economy, making sure your replenishment is very minimal, and every turn you start with an army at full energy. This army that I have here can fight multiple times in the same turn and beat 3, 4, 5 times the forces that it has sent against it, like in volume. So if you have like 1,000 troops here, it can beat 5,000 troops easily. If it has beaten more, of course, then you have to include the magic that I put in, etc. There is a reason why this army is built in such a manner. But it doesn't just work with Skaven, of course, this works with essentially every single army in the game, with the exceptions possibly of very few, such as Norscan and Chaos armies, which require you to charge in, since they have very little melee missile power. That said, let's jump into a battle which shows an army of Empire troops and how I would set them up in the corner with crossbows and this such. So I looked far and wide in my save files, and I tried to find a decent one where I could show you a corner camp with, and you know, an army which was not Skaven. But sadly, I forgot that I don't have any campaign in that stage with the Empire. I thought I had with this one, but I did not. This is my Geld campaign, which I keep using because it's frankly in a situation that is perfect to showcase these discussions in a decently mature way and have them at an advanced stage. Anyway, so this is how I would normally have an army corner camping with the low tier units. You can substitute these handgunners with pretty much anything, such as crossbowmen, quarrelers, thunderers, archers, sisters of Avalon, dark shards, shades, huntsmen. It's the structure that remains constant. Now, the reason why the structure is as it is for multiple reasons. Number one, you have the first two lines which are going to be impacted by any enemy charges. In fact, this one should stay a little bit too more forward than the others. The reason why you want it a bit more forward, you want to give line of sight to the handgunners to be able to shoot from behind their brethren and being able to deal damage to the enemy as they're coming against them. Now, the reason why you don't keep checkerboarding all the way to the back is for a very simple reason. you don't have infinite range. In fact, as you can see, we have the first line of range here, second line here, and 10th line here, which is quite compact with this formation. However, if I was to put these guys further back and in a little bit more of a checkerboard formation, their third line would be something around here, and by that time the front line would already be targeted, or pretty much the units in melee would start charging, which is not ideal. You also put your melee captains, so heroes, units, or generals in front, as they act as anchor points for the enemy to move in around, and you can shoot at them. Now, sadly, this is not the most optimal battle, because we do completely outnumber the enemy. Oh yes, and finally do put the artillery at the back, because, well, that's where I believe the artillery should go. Now, we outnumber the enemy significantly, quite heavily. I believe they have like 6 or 7 units. This is a small garrison, but it is also a decent map to show this, and it's the only one that I found that acts like this. So please do understand that I know this is not something I should really corner camp on. Frankly speaking, I should have been doing there, but just for the sake of showing, having your army in this scenario, in this situation, allows you to micromanage easily. This unit over here and this unit over here are your anchor points, and if you were to just look at the enemy incoming from this angle, you don't need that much micro. And if you struggle like micro, like a number of people do when they start playing video games or when they're playing certain types of video games, this is a really good spot for you to start. Gives you opportunity to survey everywhere that you can get attacked. You have the range from the left to the right. You know where they're coming from. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that is all I have to say about corner camping. Those are my thoughts, those are my feelings, those are my tips, those are my tricks, and now it's your turn. Your turn to tell me how you feel about the subject down below, why you like them, why you hate corner camps, what's the point of them for you if you've ever used them. Do you think they should be used? Should there be a tempered out wall where if you walk out of it, your units actually retreat, so you cannot really corner camp? So if you're standing too close to the white line, your units start breaking. This is for you to start talking about with me, and I am more than happy to have the discussion with you in the comments or on Discord if you ever so wish so. If you're new to the channel and do like Total War content, strategy content, video gaming content, a bit of personality, a bit of pizzazz, a bit of jazzazz, hi, my name is Linksi. Do please consider subscribing. If you've been here for a while, hit that like button. It does help the channel, as you very well know, you cheeky bastards. Thanks for watching, guys. See you tomorrow with more content, and I wish you all the best day. Goodbye.